Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. If the Patriots and the Chiefs are both eliminated before the conference championship games, I will take that as a sign that the reason my parents got divorced was not because of me, even though they said when they were getting a divorce that it was definitely because of me. Perna. What? My dad's name was Thomas, and my mom's name was Patricia. So you tell me why I don't like the fucking Patriots or the Chiefs. I will not clean my room. Mom. How am I supposed to clean my room if your boyfriends are doing drugs in there, Dad? That's for another day, though. Today, I've got to preview the Sunday playoff games. We have the Texas barbecue versus the KC-style barbecue in the pulling pork fest that will be Texans at Chiefs, to determine once and for all which team is better at pulling meat. And the Seahawks, who are more beat up than all of the people at a Tyreek Hill family reunion, versus Aaron Rodgers and his 8 inches of snow, possible in Green Bay. That's good sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, don't forget the Saturday preview is already up here on this channel, and Adam Rank joined Will Keys and I on our podcast. Link to the podcast is in the description. Right now I have Big Dick Patreon shoutouts for Annie Craw, Sigma HD, I'm Brandon, my Dixie wrecked Perna, Roski's Ass Clap Supreme, Sid October upping the donation to $5, Glenn Clark, Blue Ridge Mountain Plumbing. I hope that's a shout out for your business, Blue Ridge Mountain Plumbing, because I can clog some toilets with the best of them, and Gray B. Patreon.com/ThatsGoodSports. That's how you support this channel. We do a Patreon-only video just for all of our $5 patrons every month. If you're into that shit, you can do it. Houston at Kansas City, KC, 9-point favorites. It's the Texans and Chiefs, the Cowboys versus the Indians, as they used to say before the PC police took over and we had to start calling Cowboys cowmen. Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger fuck a couple times in the woods, and now they have to be cowmen. Anyway, these two teams played back in October, and it already feels like several lifetimes ago. And yes, in each of those lifetimes, I was much more successful than I am now. Well hung, too. The Texans won that game 31-24, but it feels like the Chiefs have gotten a lot better, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Contrastly, Patrick Mahomes got significantly worse at not dislocating his knee after playing the Texans, but he seems to be close to 100% healthy now. JJ Watt. I don't have any commentary, but if I don't say his name, one of his Watt brothers will come to my house and give me a swirly, just like the older brother I never had. Now, Kansas City was missing Chris Jones in that first game as well, who's the anchor of that defensive line, and with any luck, they'll be missing him permanently after free agency. Not having him was a big reason Houston was able to combine for 192 rushing yards between Hyde, Watson, and Johnson. Hyde, Watson, and Johnson, the only Texas law firm that's got the legs to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court. However, Bradley Roby, who played one of his best games as a Texan last week, was also hurt in that game. Even with a healthy Bradley Roby, I'm not sure how the Texans secondary will cover Kelce, Hill, and Hardman, who catches about 1 to 2 balls per game for 60 to 80 yards. In 3 of the last games he's played, he's had 1 catch for 30 yards, 1 for 48 and a touchdown, and 1 for 63 and a touchdown. It is a stupid stat line. But be careful, Texans, because he can burn you. I said it before the Bills game, but it's worth mentioning again. The Texans are much better when Will Fuller is on the field. It makes them something as a unit. At capacity, maybe. Perhaps over. Perhaps whole. I can't find the right. It puts their ass in the assless chaps. Either way, they score an average of 7 more points per game with Fuller. That's it. It makes them not half empty. Their glass is not half empty. And you could really tell they missed him against a tough Buffalo defense. Fuller is still injured and may or may not play on Sunday, and Kenny Stills is a bit banged up too. And even though they've had an extra week to prepare, the Chiefs may struggle to contain any receiver when Deshuan Watson is buying them an extra 8 seconds every play. Especially without rookie safety Juan Thornhill, who like a great plastic surgeon has been a huge part of the improvement on that back end. In this game though, I think the Texans' best shot is to get a big game out of former Chief Carlos Hyde and keep Patrick Mahomes on the bench in the same way that the Titans played keep away from Brady and the Vikings played keep away from Taysom Hill. You'd think, as dynamic as Watson and Mahomes are, that that's all I would be talking about in this preview, instead of making more than a normal amount of dick jokes. And because I did that, they will probably combine in a shootout for over 750 air yards between them. Here's the thing though, the Chiefs and the Texans gave up 121 and 120 rushing yards per game this season. They have the 2 worst run Ds in the playoffs. The Chiefs have the 23 worst rushing attack on offense though. So the law firm of Hyde, Watson, and Johnson was 9th best, and that may help them succeed. There's also exactly one quarterback in the NFL better at performing magic than Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Lamar Jackson doesn't count because what he does is just fucking witchcraft. My brain, though, is telling me the Texans have the favorable matchup and JJ Watt's going to steal a lot of camera time from Patrick Mahomes, which weakens Patrick Mahomes. But when I think about the Texans' defense, I just don't trust it, and I think they're gonna give up too many big plays. Mahomes will not crumble in the clutch like Josh Allen, and the Bills amassed more offensive yards than any other team wild card weekend. And the Chiefs' offense is better than Buffalo's. Give me the Chiefs to win 30-27. As a Broncos fan, the only silver lining is if the Chiefs win, it's knowing that it will make Rob Riggle, Eric Stonestreet, David Koechner, and Paul Rudd happy. How the fuck are all the funny and likable actors Chiefs fans?
If you don't believe me, then believe me, because it's 20 degrees outside here in New York. He punted it all this way, and there's no one else I would stand in the freezing cold for than Dustin Colquitt. Tweet this video, retweet this video, tweet it. I don't need those.
Such a better crew than Mark Wahlberg, Bon Jovi, and John Wayne Gacy like the Patriots have.
Hey.
What?
I just want to take another look at you.
Seahawks versus Packers, Green Bay 3.5-point favorites. These two teams have had some crazy games the last few years. Obviously, there was the Fail Mary in Wilson's rookie season, back when the referees were slightly better at their jobs. Then, of course, there was the 2014 NFC Championship game when God cured Russell Wilson's concussion. And first of all, if God won't cure a hangover, then why is he curing concussions mid-game? Anyways, we all remember the Seahawks' miracle comeback and the 9,000 fluky things that had to happen to make it possible. But my favorite Seahawks-Packers moment was when Matt Hasselbeck was caught saying, "We'll take the ball and we're going to score" during the overtime coin toss in the 2003 wildcard game. Only to follow that by throwing a pick six like a real Tom Brady.
Seattle has won the toss.
We won the ball, we're gonna score.
Oh boy. They're coming. The pass is picked off. Intercepted. Back the other way. The Green Bay Packers advance.
And if we can get Chris Collinsworth to laugh like this.
Oh boy.
Just one more time. I'll die a happy man after my murder-suicide of me and Chris. The lesson being, never get too cocky before the game's over. You talk your shit after you win. Russell Wilson's It's Always Sunny jab at Eagles fans after last weekend's game, perfect. Tom Brady forgetting that Mufasa dies and posting this bullshit before their wildcard game, perfect for me, beyond stupid for him.
He's the king of the jungle. He's laying down under a tree. He doesn't want to move. Now, the other animals, they notice this. And they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, barking at him, laughing at him. And they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody. Runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
It was just a tough day, you know? I don't have to be an insurance salesman, you know?
Everyone keeps calling Green Bay a soft 13-3. I don't know how that's possible. That's like calling someone a soft millionaire. $1 million is $1 million. Unless you're the guy who invented boner pills. Then you're a hard millionaire who just might be able to go from a soft 3 to a hard 13. The Packers find ways to win games, and it doesn't matter how they do it. Beating the Lions by a field goal, blowing out the Raiders, losing to the Chargers, who gives a fuck? It's all the exact same. They had essentially the same schedule as the Vikings and won 3 more games. The only team that really spanked the Packers was the 49ers, and the Vikings get them Saturday, so we can measure those 13 wins there if need be. Wilson does have a better receiving core than Rodgers, but the weather may take that away from Wilson as well. There's a possible chance of 8 to 10 inches of snow that could fall in Green Bay Saturday night. And the Packers have already asked for 700 shovelers to volunteer shoveling the stadium. Even if the weather isn't a factor, I don't think Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf will be able to take advantage of the Green Bay secondary the same way they did to Philly's beat-up XFL unit. Jair Alexander has had a breakout year, Adrian Amos has been one of the best free agent signings of the season, and in the front 7, Preston and Zadarius Smith revamped what was a weak Clay Matthews pass rush a year ago. Don't tell Clay Matthews I said that. Or any Matthews. Corey Matthews from Boy Meets World, and Dave Matthews. Specifically do not tell Dave Matthews or his band. The last thing I need is to be cast into that weird Dave Matthews forest with the naked violin player and those scary ass skull people. And I'm not talking about Vikings fans as skull people. I'm talking about real skull people. The Dave Matthews loyalists.
Come into
who lure you into the woods just so they can play piano with your real organs. Dave Matthews style piano with your organs. Maybe they should be playing an organ, but you know what I mean. Look, I picked the Eagles to upset the Seahawks. Jadeveon Clowney, headhunter, really screwed that up for me. Aaron Rodgers is too smart to let Clowney do that to him. Rodgers hasn't had a flashy season, but he's gotten more from his running backs and Aaron Jones and Jamaal Williams than he's had since Eddie Lacy did P90X. 1,500 yards between them, 16 rushing touchdowns from Jones alone, 5 receiving tugs from Williams, and 25 total between the two backs. Like the Seahawks currently dealing with depleted resources at the running back position, the Packers had to manage the same with their receivers. Devontae Adams was hurt in the middle of the season, just barely missing the 1,000-yard mark on the year, but in his last 3 games had 103, 116, and 93 receiving yards. Alan Lazard has emerged as a reliable target and was the second leading receiver for Green Bay, just edging out Aaron Jones with 477 yards. Through all of that, Rodgers has only thrown 4 picks, 1 in each of his last 2 games, but I'm guessing he'll be safe with the ball Sunday. In 16 playoff games, Rodgers has 10 picks. Wilson has had a better season this year, but in 14 playoff games, Wilson's thrown 1 more pick with 11. The only way Wilson leads the Seahawks to victory is if Seattle runs the ball like they did all season, or Wilson has one of the best games we have ever seen from a quarterback ever. If the weather forces the run, I'm taking the Packers with Jones and Williams. Green Bay has better backs, a better offensive line, and a better all-around defense, and what Matt LaFleur has done as a first-time head coach is impressive. Packers 19, Seahawks 17. And those are your playoff picks. Please subscribe here on the YouTube. Thanks, as always, for watching. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna if you want to follow me there. Make sure you follow Will Keys. His Twitter handle is at Guillermo Yaves. That's Spanish for Will Keys. I finally figured it out for all of you following that saga